So with the new year upon us and the transfer window about to open, who are 5 players I would like to see come to the Canadian Premier League in 2020? Find out right here next. Hey guys, it's Curtis here and you're watching my channel A.F.C. Curtis, your home for all things Canadian Premier League content right here on YouTube. Going strong with 60 straight weeks now of CPL content uploaded on this channel. So definitely if you are interested in the CPL, consider hitting that red subscribe button. So it was about a year ago I did a video similar to this, which is my 5 players I would like to see come to the CPL for the 2019 season. And that one did pretty well and I had a lot of fun with it, but I only got one of those 5 player predictions right. So a whole year later here, as we're coming into the 2020 season, I really sat down, I investigated, I talked to the scouts, I talked to the agents, talked to the coaches, and I said, okay, who are 5 players that are likely, who are possibly free agents even right now in the winter of 2019-2020, who could be coming to the Canadian Premier League in the 2020 season? And I narrowed it down to 5 players that I think realistically we could see in the CPL just for the start of the 2020 season in March, April here. So definitely, let's get this thing started here with my 5 players we're going to hopefully see in the 2020 CPL season. Fullback Cristian Gutierrez. Now let's start things off with a player whose brother played in the CPL just a year ago. Mr. Cristian Gutierrez here, whose twin brother Diego Gutierrez played with Valor FC in 2019 in the CPL here. So I mean it's reasonable to think Cristian could come to the CPL in 2020. He's currently a free agent as he was released from his club back in Chile there just a few months ago. So he is a free agent as of the recording of this video here. And again, it's realistic to actually see him come to the CPL in 2020. He's a good young player. He's a left fullback there. I think can really mature and get those good, reasonable minutes with any club really in the Canadian Premier League here. Again, he's a free agent, and of course he's born in Quebec, so he technically has a Canadian passport, which means he won't count as an international player, but as a domestic player. So it's a pretty good domestic player to add to any club in the CPL. Next on the list is fullback Brett Levis. My next player on the list here is from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Mr. Brett Levis, who is a left fullback as well like Cristian, who is included on my list here. He's a player who actually just recently got released this past winter from Vancouver Whitecaps Football Club of the MLS. He spent a couple years there, grew up in that system, developed there in a residency program, Whitecaps FC 2, and now of course been with the Whitecaps last 2 or 3 seasons there, but has been hampered with bad form and injuries and just really bad luck there and hasn't really gotten a good shot toward the end there, unfortunately, because of that. Got released from the Whitecaps. They're making him a free agent currently, and I think a perfect landing spot for him would be a CPL club. He'll be 27 for the start of the CPL season in 2020, but I really think that he could come in and mature and maybe get that second renewed chance at a career in a bigger league outside the CPL if he did come to the CPL for at least 1 or 2 years and start to develop and really get those meaningful minutes. And I think the CPL clubs would love to have a player like him on, just because he does still have, I think, a good upside to him, even in his coming out in his later 20s. I think he could still pull it together. He can also play in a midfield role too as well for a club. So I mean, this is a good versatile type Canadian player, by the way, too. Like I said, he's from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, good old Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. But unfortunately, I don't see a team in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan in 2020. But it's okay, because I hope to see a native of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan and Brett Levis come to the CPL. Goalkeeper Callum Irving. Irving here was the starter for the Ottawa Fury, which is unfortunately not around anymore, therefore making him a free agent. He came there, he had some experience there bouncing around. I think he was with the Houston Dynamo for a bit. He was drafted, developed there, and then got loaned out. Eventually landed with the Ottawa Fury over from 2017 to 2019, spanned his career there. Was a bit of a starter there 2017, kind of lost that job 2018 as well, but then bounced back in 2019 with a pretty good year there as a starting goalkeeper for the Ottawa Fury here. And unfortunately, because the team did cease operations a couple months ago, that does make him a free agent right now, and he is a Canadian goalkeeper, and I think he would be a good player for any of the CPL clubs that are looking for a starting goalkeeper in 2020 to take a chance on. I mean, this is a guy who will be 27 years old in 2020 there, and at the same time though, I think he's kind of in that really good form right now. He had a really good year in 2019, probably one of the best, if not the best year of his career so far. So he's coming off a bit of a career year, coming in with good form, looking for a new challenge, and in the CPL I think he'll find one. And I think if he comes in and signs with a CPL club, I think not only will he be a starter, but I think he could contend to be one of the top goalkeepers in the Canadian Premier League. Fullback Ashton Morgan. My third fullback, my third left back here on the list is Mr. Ashton Morgan, former Toronto FC player. Spent the last 9 years with Toronto FC, playing over 120 games with them, plus played quite a few matches with the Canadian men's national team. So tons of experience there. He'll be 29 years old in 2020. But unfortunately, you know, this is a kind of a player that I kind of feel will actually end up signing with an MLS club rather than a CPL club, just because of his experience. I think he's still good enough to play and maybe even be a starter as a left back in the MLS in 2020, but at the other end of the spectrum, in a dream world, in a fantasy world, I think it'd be kind of cool to see him come to the CPL in 2020, because he's kind of a household name from his time with Toronto FC, and he did show a lot of good showings and a lot of good performances there and form with TFC over the last decade almost. So I think a great pickup for any CPL club that needs a hole to fill at left back there. I think he'd be a great pickup, wealth of experience, and he's only 29 years old in 2020, and he's got tons of years left in football, so I think he'd be a great pickup for really any club in the CPL. Midfielder, Will Johnson. Now the last player on my list here will be Mr. Will Johnson. Man, I would love to see this player come to the Canadian Premier League. He will be 33 years old in 2020, right in time for the start of that CPL season. But at the same time, I think this guy is just a great veteran. I think he's still good enough to even play in some MLS squads, and that's why I think he is kind of more on the unlikely spectrum, let's say, in terms of a 2020 signing, but maybe in future years, definitely. But I think he still has maybe another year or two in the MLS before possibly even coming to the CPL in his career, which again would be really cool to see, because again, he's got tons of wealth of knowledge. He's been playing pro football since 05 when he made his debut for the Chicago Fire. He's played in Europe, played in a really good run with Real Salt Lake, Portland Timbers, TFC, and in recent years, the last couple of years, he spent in Orlando City FC in the MLS. So I mean, you know, Will Johnson's definitely a good player here who's been around. He's got that experience. Plus, he's played over I think it was 45 matches as of the recording this video for the Canadian men's national team. So, I mean, this guy's got experience from over a decade's worth of playing. Plus, he's still a good midfielder, and he could play a good defensive midfield role, especially in the CPL. I think he would excel at that role in the CPL for pretty much any club. He would be an almost instant, or one of the best, I should say, for sure, midfielders in the CPL. Plus, just being a Canadian, a homegrown Canadian boy, playing in the CPL, that'd be great. Plus, he can end his career and start a coaching career in a few years when he does hopefully end his career and come to the CPL and at least get 4 or 5 good years out of him, retire, and then potentially even become a coach in the CPL. It's a whole CPL Canadian success story right there. Well, guys, that was my list of 5 players I would like to see join the Canadian Premier League in 2020. Let me know your 5 players down in the comment section below. You can even drop in a whole pretty good little list of fantasy players you'd even like to see come in the CPL, whether it be free agents or not. Let me know down in that comment section below. And of course, if you like this video, definitely hit that thumbs up, that like button. Shows me you like content just like this. And of course, if you want to see more content about the Canadian Premier League right here on my channel, definitely consider hitting that red subscribe button, the little bell notification button right beside that, so you can get notified each and every week when I drop a brand new episode just like this one. Plus, guys, you can also watch my video content over at northernstarting11.com. I have a link for that website down in the description below. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching.